Welcome to the summit, Break Through That Career Plateau. I'm your host, Linda Butler. And if you're a woman in mid-career, midlife, feeling like you're at a career crossroads, perhaps feeling stuck, wondering if it's too late to change, but inside you know that you're capable of more, this is the summit for you. You're gaining inside access to top experts who are here to help you learn how to identify new opportunities, create momentum, and take action to create that dream next role. And today I am happy to introduce one of those experts who is our speaker, Mustafa Ammar. Mustafa is the founder and CEO of the Passion MBA, a global coaching company. He is also a life coach who has coached hundreds of professionals around the world to find their dream careers and build their dream businesses by applying his coaching methodology, which is the Passion Blueprint. He is also the author of the upcoming books, Time to Move On and The Passion Project. He has lived several career lives in one single life. He started his career as a pharmacist out of a passion for chemistry. Then he became an international diplomat out of a passion for building bridges among different cultures, and he traveled the world. He worked in China, Malawi, and the United Nations. He then worked as an investment special at the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, that's a mouthful, where he was in charge of business development and bringing investments to various regions around Africa. So welcome, Mustafa.
Thank you, Linda. It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so glad to have you here. And as I'm reading your bio again, obviously I read it a little earlier as well, but the thing that came to my mind is, you know, a little something about changing careers.
Yeah, somehow I started doing that very early in my life. And the main question was always for me, how to find my dream career. Like even when I was a kid, I still remember when I was 5, 6 years old, my parents, my relatives were asking me the question, the very famous and popular question, which is, what you want to be when you when you grow
Right.
up.
Yeah.
And I used to say, I want to be a football player, an astronaut, an engineer, a diplomat, so many things. Growing up, trying to find an answer for me, it wasn't easy, but I tried to stick to my passions, or at least the things that I loved. And that's what gave me clue step by step what I really should do. So started pharmacy, really out of passion for chemistry. I didn't have any clue what I would do in my future. But I said, if I love chemistry, then why not? You know, do pharmacy because it has all kinds of chemistry. After graduating, I thought that this is not for me. Even if I love chemistry, I don't want to do this job all my life. And I thought it will be a kind of becoming inside a cage, and I will not be able to escape out of that cage. I started digging in my old dreams as a kid, and I found diplomacy there. And then I started preparing. So I was a pharmacist, knowing almost nothing about global affairs, economics, a lot of other languages. But then I found a way. And luckily, after 3 years of working as a pharmacist and studying, preparing myself for a big national competition to be a diplomat, I was chosen as one of 30 new diplomats out of 2,000 contestants. And the journey goes on and on and on. And when your passion change, it's very interesting if you could listen to your passions, especially when the passions shift or change. And then, okay, find a new project, or I would say a new passion project. So this is what really makes life very interesting. If you shift with your passions, if you listen to them carefully, and then give yourself a time to understand them. Don't close the doors in front of them. Don't, a lot of people, get scared when they have a new dream or a new passion, so they close the door. So I would just argue that I just let it going with all those new passions and try to shift with them. And that's what opened a lot of new opportunities for me.
Yeah, I love that perspective, because I think you're right. Many of us don't allow ourselves that opportunity to really dive into what are we passionate about. So we may get stuck in a comfort zone or a path and think that's the right thing to do, is just stick to the path. So how do you, so if you recognize, perhaps, let's say that you have a passion in a certain area, what is the methodology to start to pursue it? Because obviously, you know, most times you probably just can't go overnight, right? Make that switch overnight. So what's the strategy or blueprint for that?
Exactly. So in the beginning, I used to do it in a very unstructured way. So I'm just trying to pursue something that I have a little passion, but I still don't understand it. I still don't know much about it. But let's say right now, from an expert point of view, somebody who has done it 4 or 5 times, the best thing to know more about your passion is to read about it. So a very structured way is to find the best 3 selling books out in the market on that passion. For example, if it's communication, if it's marketing, I would go out and find those 3 books and read them. And I would summarize every one into main points, okay? And then try to explore myself after those 3 books. What should I do next? Do I love it or not? Do I feel that I have more passion or not? Do I feel that I ignited that passion, so it's turning into an obsession with that, you know, whatever, if it's marketing, for example? Then the next level would be building more skills around that. So, and what I would say, building more skills, if for example, marketing, I would learn how to communicate with others. I would do a digital marketing course. I would do a 6-month diploma, for example, online, or a certificate online that would help me to build that. And for the surprise of a lot of people, you can master any skill in 3 or to 6 month span. So if you just focus on it, you don't have to be the expert that has spent, you know, 10 years in that field to know something about it. And a very interesting research has been done several years ago that if you read 3 best-selling books about that skill, you're going to know more than 85% of the people who work actually in that industry.
Oh, wow.
So if I start with 3 books, yeah. So if I read just 3 best-selling books about that subject, and there are whatever millions of people working in that field, you're gonna know more than 85% of the people who are working actually in that industry, because somehow you're getting to, you know, the best source. Or let's say, if I want to learn something fast, I need to get to the best, right? And 3 best-selling books, actually, like 3 best resources are out there in the market, and you're just learning in the most practical way, not theoretical, not by study, you know, in school or university. You're just doing it in a very practical way and applying it right away. This is somehow the way I learned many of the skills when I was just literally knowing nothing about it. And then slowly, you can figure out whether this is a real passion or not in a couple of months. And then whether it's just put it aside and forget about it for a while and focus on something else, or wow, I love it, I want to do more of this, and then I can explore myself further.
Right. Yeah, that's a really interesting concept, and that makes sense. And I like how you say as well, is this really something, after you've read those 3 books and thought about it, is this really something that lights me up, or maybe not so much right now? So you do have that option to say, maybe not right now, or maybe that's not it. Yeah. Yeah. So if you do read those 3 books and you say, okay, yeah, this is really something exciting to me and I want to pursue it, what recommendation do you give to people? How do you start to transition or position yourself that you can then start a career in that area?
I like to go back a few steps back, because unless you build, you know, very solid foundations for the next move, you'll be confused. So just let me give you an example or an analog of a very long journey. So let's imagine this. If you are traveling for a very long journey for thousands of miles, driving your car, maybe from West Coast, from somewhere in California, all the way to New York, I would assume you need three essential elements in that journey. So you need enough gas for your car, and you need a GPS, and you need a final destination, right? Without enough gas, you will stop at some point. So you have to have enough gas to get until the end of the journey. And without a GPS tracker, you will get lost almost everywhere in the middle, several times, right? And also, there is no benefit of having a GPS unless you have a final destination or an address that I just write down in that GPS tracker. If you try to apply that on our career, our life, enough gas means enough passion. So if I don't have enough passion for whatever I'm doing, I will stop somewhere in the middle. I will run out of gas, and I burn out, and I'm done. Your GPS is your values. So not knowing your values, you will keep going around. You will be lost in the middle, not knowing that this is the direction that where I want to go. And I just give you a quick example of values. Let's say if freedom is your values, if family is your values, if you undermine those values, if you endanger them, and your career is not serving them, you will get lost. You will feel burn out, you will feel unsatisfied, you will feel unhappy. And then a final destination, and in my case, in my experience with a lot of clients, it's the main challenge, because I see people not spending time on imagining an ideal lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So an ideal lifestyle, an ideal day, an ideal weekend, a vision for their dream lifestyle or dream career would be somewhere at the end. So if I have my passions very well defined, and they are serving me to go along the way, and then my GPS are serving me just to, go in the right direction, I will reach very quickly, or let's say in the quickest way ever, to my ideal lifestyle. And your ideal lifestyle would be maybe different from mine, from our audience. But if you define that, where are you heading? And if you are getting closer, you feel like, wow, I'm getting closer to where I want to be, or where is my ideal dream, career or whatever. So unless we are able to define those three essential elements, knowing what's your dream passions, what's your core values, what's your ideal vision for your dream lifestyle, it's very hard to move on to the next step. So let's imagine there are three circles: passions, values, and your vision. Your next move should be in the middle of those three circles. Once you're able to define those three circles, the next step will be very easy, will be actually very automatic, very organic, because going through that process, knowing that if I work very hard, 15, 16, 20 hours every single day on those passions, I will not burn out because I love them. And the second is, if I have my values around me are satisfied, if my family as a core value is satisfied, then I'm doing this for my family, I'm doing this for my freedom, I'm doing this for another value, then I know where I'm heading. I'm not lost, And if every single action I'm doing every single day is getting me closer to my dream lifestyle, my dream career, or my dream ideal day, then it's fun. And then it's very interesting. So my humble advice to everybody is, check closely, look at your passions, look at your values, try to define an ideal vision for your life, and then put all of them together. And then it will be easy for you to get to the next level.
Love that. Yeah, that makes sense. And, I'm thinking about recently, over the last year or so, there's been so much talk about the Great Resignation, and, coming out of pandemic, and people have been in that self-questioning mode of, is this all there is, or what else can I do? But but it seems like it would be important not just to leave a job quickly, right? But really to put that blueprint together, like you said.
Exactly, exactly. Knowing, I mean, seeing what happened over the last 3 years, and the pandemic give most of us an opportunity when we were locked, at home for several months or even more than a year, to think through our life, think through our careers, what really matters for us, think whether my current job is the thing that I really want to do for the rest of my life, or whether going every single day to work and not working from wherever I want, even from home or from another country or from while I'm traveling, is the best thing I could do. And then it triggered a huge move in the US, around the world, which we can call the Great Resignation. So looking at just some figures, 2021 have 48 million people only in the US who left their jobs willingly without any alternative. Almost the same, the numbers in 2022, almost around the same figures without any slowdown. Looking at Europe, the same movement are happening with a lower scale in the UK, in Germany, in Italy. Big economies like India, like China, same thing is happening. When I look around the reasons and research along with my team, why this is happening, I found that money was number 5 or 6. And I found lack of passion, for example, was number 1. I still remember in 2019, just before the pandemic, was very huge study was done by Gallup. It was done on 65,000 participants. And it showed that 85% of full-time employees around the world, they hate their jobs. It was just trying to link both together. I mean, like if 85% of all the full-time employees around the world hate their jobs, 70% in the US hate their jobs, it means something. And hating my job means I lack passion for it. I don't like it anymore. It's not satisfying me. It's not fulfilling me. So I see that there is a huge problem here, and I couldn't see enough support or enough trials to solve that. Still, organizations or companies are solving it in a very traditional way, which is just offering more jobs. I see governments are trying to offer more jobs, but that's not the root cause of it. So the root cause is people are lacking passion for what they're doing. And if they don't know what they're passionate about, they will just keep trying and trying and trying tirelessly, but without, a big solution for that big problem. So again, if I can say there is a solution for this, I think if everybody comes back to the idea of what are my passions and linking all of that with an ideal lifestyle, and then build that blueprint, which in my case, I call it the passion blueprint, and be able to move to the next step, learn the skills very, very quickly, and then don't look at what in the market, build something for yourself and go out and create it. This is always what I was trying to do myself, because it was almost impossible, even as a diplomat, to be a banker. And before that, as a diplomat, as a pharmacist, to be a diplomat. But then the idea was to dive deeper into myself, know what I really love, know my passions, know my values, and see what's my next ideal lifestyle, and create that opportunity and go and fight for it and get it. So I would see if more people are doing it this way, you will be able to find the dream careers.
Yeah, and that sounds great. And I think you have a slightly different perspective than perhaps others in the field of careers. But you say, although maybe you can recognize your strengths and weaknesses, it's really more about your passion is what should drive you, not so much your strengths. Is that right?
I agree. I've been always giving that advice from my ex-bosses or in my previous careers, that work on your strength. You are